Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Blastoise. Wait a second, you might be thinking, I'm already done with how to use and I've already reviewed Blastoise. Well, I've been looking at the older videos. You can just kind of figure out how to play it from there. Surf is really good because you have that water absorb and dry skin on Pokemon, really making those Pokemon get a lot of health back while hitting both of your opponent's Pokemon. I mean, that quality is absolutely shameful. There's no music in the background, there's a terrible echo, I'm not portraying and projecting my voice as well, I'm not even as excited, it sounds like, and movesets will change over time. So to get through to Pokemon Sun and Moon, it's like less than 6 months away. I was thinking we could revamp Kanto, that whenever I feel like putting out a how to use video, we can do that, and let's go and finish up and talk about Blastoise's stats and typing. So stats of Blastoise are tanky, that when we have any stats, like defenses over 100 are going to be nice. 80 on the hit points works out pretty well when you're investing into it. Not an insane amount of speed, but we're not super slow, so we can still like tank bust and outspeed a lot of like really slow tanks. And unfortunately, our offenses aren't really going to give us too much. We go into Mega Blastoise, suddenly we're a pretty beefy special attacker. I feel we have points wasted in attack, unfortunately, but we also get tankier, and that's always a good thing. Look at Blastoise's typing. I mean, pure water type. Yes, pure water type on the Blastoise means we only have to worry about two things. Electric and grass. We get 4 resistances. Pure water is a very powerful typing, and it's going to work out pretty well even offensively. So now it's time to go into Pokemon Showdown. You can even see, like, back in the early days, I was too lazy to fix the layout and make it look better, but right now we're in Pokemon Showdown, and let's go and pull ourselves up a Blastoise. Also, I think I did like a super scummy, terrible thing where I'm like, you guys don't know a Pokemon I'm reviewing on I was an idiot back then, okay? But let's go talk about Blastoise. Now, regular Blastoise is going to be kind of difficult to talk about, and I want to lead strong, so let's go and talk about Mega Blastoise, because Mega Blastoise is like the ultimate one-for-one Pokemon, and it does so many amazing things. So let's go check out what Blastoise can do. I'm thinking that what you want is a modest nature, max out the special attack, max out the hit points, and then we just play on the tankiness. So here's how Pokemon works when it comes to defensive values. You might be watching this as one of the earlier parts in the series, since I am doing this as a revamp. You might have not seen the original video, or most of my other how to use videos. And just in case of that, the way that EVs work is that it's all going to be flat. So no matter how much you do at level 100, it's going to give you plus 64 when you max out. So when we look at this comparison, we're going from 299 to 362. That's going to be a much bigger change than if the stats are higher. 336 to 405. The percentage growth isn't as much. So when you have lower hit points and defenses, you want to go higher into the higher in the hit points, and then you're going to be effectively tankier. Same with the defenses and whatnot. That if you have lower defenses, even though it sounds like 2 hit points and then other stats, sometimes finding a nice little tweaking on defenses will actually make you 2%, 3% more durable, and those stats do matter in the long run. So this is going to make it to where Blastoise is going to be very hard to one-hit KO. It's going to be very hard to even two-hit KO. That neutral hits, as long as you're not getting hit super effective, you are realistically going to be a 3-hit KO Pokemon just through sheer tankiness, but we have a lot of things on our side. We have Mega Launcher. 50% more power, so 1.5 times the damage on a lot of the moves that we are going to be using, and we already have a massive special attack, and we can go stab. So let's start off with Water Pulse. Water Pulse is kind of, if I can actually type today, Water Pulse is going to be really nice. It's boosted by, not Water Pledge, oh my goodness, I can't do anything right. Apparently I'm still bad at making videos. Water Pulse, it has 60 base power, but Mega Launcher, boosting that up to 90, and then we get Stab on top of it. So same as Surf, but it has a 20% chance confused, so better than Surf in singles, and it's also going to be more damage than Scald, and normally you want the Scald for that chance of burning, but with Blastoise in this situation, we want to go hard damage. We just want to clean up an opponent as fast as possible. Can run the Scald, I recommend Water Pulse, and then we just play Aura Sphere and Dark Pulse, and then we like Pulse move out from here, so good coverage, and then we go into the Ice Beam, and I'm pretty sure we're done right here. So Ice Beam is going to obliterate dragons, and that's how Blastoise works. It's either going to find a lot of one-hit KOs on super effective hits, or 2-hit KOs you with strong neutral hits, or even like, if you're a super tanky Pokemon getting hit by a super effective hit, Blastoise is just going to win out. I call it the ultimate one-for-one Pokemon when it is Mega like this in single battles, and in doubles, you want to give it some kind of support. That's when you either go into a quiet nature and play it on the Trick Room, because not many things are going to underspeed at that point, and here's where it starts getting fun, because you get Water Spout. Water Spout on a 135 special attack Pokemon hitting both opponents in doubles is going to be absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage, because, yeah, 150 and then stab and then shenanigans from there. Or you can go the other way around, go modest, maybe find a little bit of speed investment if you are looking to win out speed ties and stuff. So let's, timid could work as well, but let's check out modest. So 192, which means that we will have to cut away from our tankiness just a bit, and then that means we can go, yeah, I wouldn't recommend timid, because we're just sacrificing hit points and we're still maximizing our damage, and it just depends on the Pokemon that you want outspeed. So there's all kinds of things. You can go with a higher amount of speed, you can try to play it safer. In the doubles, you will need to protect, so I recommend getting rid of Dark Pulse is hard, because there's Pokemon like Cresselia that you want to hit on that Dark Pulse sometimes, Pokemon like Aegislash, but for the most part, Water Spout is going to be tons of damage, so choose one. I like also carrying the Aura Sphere. Having fighting coverage at special is very powerful, and it can be something to respect right there. So first turn, protect, set up your Trick Room, set up your Tailwind, and then you just obliterate everything with the Water Spout. High amounts of speed investment, maybe want some hit points in there, because, alright, use Water Spout, they survive, they hit you, well, now you're still somewhat tanky, and you have a fast Aura Sphere and Ice Beam, so the options that you come out of with this are ridiculous, and that's kind of Blastoise and damage and stuff. And then, if you're playing Tailwind, that's amazing. Like, say, Tailwind Talonflame, I think is a good example right here. Because, alright, Talonflame uses Tailwind, maybe has a Focus Sash or something, maybe just has Life Orb, maybe tries to play it safe. You protect, and then you outspeed Water Spout, and then you priority Brave Bird, and then both of your opponents die before they even get a chance to move. Blastoise is good like that. Now let's talk about regular Blastoise. So the problem with Mega Blastoise is that you only get 1 Mega per battle. Do you really want it to be a Mega Blastoise? Now it's up to you. It can be, it cannot be. Blastoise, it's still tanky. Problem is it has no sustain. Like, a lot of your sustain is that if you have, like, protect leftovers and you're trying to play some kind of sneaky stuff like that. Like, Blastoise does work as a Toxic Staller. It's not as good as something like a Gliscor. It's not as good as another, like, Poison-type Pokemon or Pokemon with sustain. But it can get the Toxic down, and it can be a little frustrating. Also, just carries coverage out after that, you know? You can Toxic something, hit it with an Ice Beam, make it really feel bad about itself. And you also can go for Scald. Scald is actually interesting, maybe Surf, like, because you're toxic in them, so the point of Scald is to get the burn down if you're already going for that status. But in the case of, like, Steel-type Pokemon, having Scald could get the burn, having Scald could get the burn on Poison-type Pokemon as well. But it's going to be like this. You're going to be, like, low damage, toxic stalling. Some people do ask about the Aqua Ring. I did put it on the original set, but after thinking about it, it's not worth the hit points. Like, you don't get enough back from it. When we look at the hidden ability is going to be Rain Dish. If Rain Dance is active, you gain 116 of your max hit points each turn. That's another weird one. Like, if you set up Rain Dance, like, say instead of Aqua Ring we have Rain Dance, well, then that means we can run, like, Surf and get a little bit more damage out of it, and maybe be more transitioning as an offensive Pokemon. But when we look at Water-type Pokemon, we could do better than just 85 special attacks. So it's all about playing around that bulk. Blastoise is more known for just being annoying. Like Berto, the man, the myth, the legend, Berto. He likes running Yawn on his Blastoise. And it's pretty much like you have a beefy Pokemon. Like whenever you use or go up against Blastoise, you're going to think, wow, this thing is not taking damage like I expected. And that's a big part of how Blastoise likes to play. So what you want to do is if you're running Yawn, you can't really run Toxic or anything like that. But you can like run Protect Yawn and then just chip in damage. You know, step Stealth Rocks on another Pokemon and then bring in Blastoise. Use Yawn. If they stay in, you protect and they fall asleep. If they switch out, that's free Rocks damage and free potential damage off of that. Then you get leftovers, then you protect, you get leftovers, you throw out another Yawn, and you can kind of cycle through your opponent while being just a bit frustrating like that. Blastoise also gets the Fake Out stuff. Haze. Actually, Haze works out pretty well. Haze is an egg move, and that's going to be pretty solid. So if the opponent's going for stat gaining on you, you know, you can throw out the Haze, you can throw out the Yawn, you can bring in Blastoise for a couple of different things, but it's not going to really bring too much. Rapid Spin, if you don't want hazards yourself, but you want to set hazards onto your opponent, you can do something like that. So Yawn, Ice Beam, maybe even Surf if you want like Stab or something. I just like the coverage of Ice Beam. You know? This is what makes Blastoise so difficult to run. No Stab seems counterintuitive, but we're not really playing it for the direct damage. Like, the damage you're losing out is only 50%, and you're finding those really crazy super effectives on the Ice Beam. But again, running Surf doesn't hurt either, or even the Scald. If you run Scald and you can get a burn, sure, it's not going to make that Yawn work, but then you protect, they take burn damage, and if they're a physical Pokemon, you're going to win out that way. So there are a lot of different things that you can do about it. That's kind of going to be it on Blastoise. Like, Blastoise can also be like a sacrifice Rain Dance Pokemon in a way that, you know, it can set up Rain Dance and it can do a couple of screwy things. So what we can do right here is pull up Blastoise And we're on Bulbapedia, just kind of showing off its movesets and stuff, so not really too much. Oh yeah, also you can use Dragon Pulse under the Mega Launcher if you want to use that for the Mega Blastoise. But yeah, we get like Iron Defense. You can make yourself really tanky. One thing that you can run with that Blastoise is like go high on Special Defense investment, high on the hit points, run Iron Defense. So at least you're still going to be very tanky and taking almost no damage. But again, Sustain is an issue. If you get blown up by a really hard hit, it's very hard to recover from that as the Blastoise. So yeah, you can do something like Rain Dance into Yawn, so you're taking a hit off the Rain Dance, you're taking a hit off the Yawn, but then that gives you a free switch in with a couple of turns of Rain left, especially if you are using the Damp Rock. Now, Damp Rock is going to be like a substitution for your leftovers if you are running the Rain Dish ability, and that's kind of it. After that, there are some interesting things. You have like Dragon Tail. Well, not Fragon Tail, I don't even know what that is. Dragon Tail is going to help with that phasing and stuff if you do get hazards set up at some point in the battle. Other than that, you're just like, alright, you can't go wrong if you run Ice Beam and Scald on just any Pokemon either. You know, it's going to give you that coverage, go be a little bits of damage, but like set up the Rain Dance, be a little bit annoying, and then have a Swift Swim Pokemon. You can do the same in doubles as well. You set up a Rain Dance, Swift Swim next to you, and maybe even follow it up with something else from there like a Surf or play it out like that. And as for the EVs on this spread, you know, that's where you can go high investment into hit points and like kind of split it up between the defenses. Also, what our nature is just going to give us a free pass, so I would recommend a special defensive nature and maybe just a bit more care on that special defense, because you're going to see grass types and electric attacks be primarily special attacks. So just in case there's a super effective hit, you might be able to deal with it. The majority of the game is going to be physical, so that does give us options. Like if we are going to be in some kind of sustaining area with it's kind of hard. Maybe you can also see Blastoise as like just a damage Pokemon that kind of just gives itself up whenever it needs to, so we can throw down the Rocky Helmet as well. Rocky Helmet is going to help chip in that extra damage. That's when we don't really need the Protect, because Protect is just going to help out with our sustain and stuff. So that's where we can start adding a bit more coverage, like, okay, Ice Beam, Surf, Rapid Spin, and that's actually going to be a pretty solid set right here. That this will be frustrating. It's not going to give you a lot of longevity, but it is going to make you tanky, and then that's where we can like slap in some kind of nature. So right here it's even. We could either go for a little bit better of a split by going with a bold nature, plus defense minus attack, something like that, or we can also go for a calm nature. It's pretty much preference. Either way, you can also go with like a very high defensive, like pure defense Blastoise, just wall out this specific Pokemon, make it like an anti-ground Pokemon, anti-physical dragon Pokemon, just bring it in, eat up that hit, Ice Beam, Redemption, good, and then you play like the Yawn, Rapid Spin, anti-setup game. Blastoise can actually find some success inside of that. Same with really any of these sets. You want to be going for like super high hit points or defensive investment in like your own specific way. And in case you're running Assault Vest would be like modest special attack, stuff like that, and then Assault Vest, so depends. Seismic still really don't know. Seismic is actually really weird when you think about it, because Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, even though I've mentioned Seismic on like the first part of this guide, or like when I did this guide originally, it's a third generation move tutor. It's mostly going to be from like just simulator only. Like you can use it on Pokemon Showdown. It's going to be consistent damage that might do more than just like a Scald or an Ice Beam if you're uninvested. So it's really good on tank. However, we have Red, Blue, and Yellow Virtual Console, and that spices things up a bit, I would say, because we don't know how it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to be like a mystery gift Pokemon where we can soft reset it, get natures and IVs. Maybe it'll come with at least 3 IVs, so that way we can have competitive Pokemon transferred over. We don't know anything about it, but what we do know is Blastoise can get Seismic Toss in Generation 1 because Seismic Toss is a TM. So that's a possibility right there, and could happen, but in that, it's just like tanky. Mega Blastoise is going to be your main bet, but you have to be okay with making it your only Mega, and I think that's all that there is to it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.